Hi, John Ludi here, and trying a little experiment. I'm actually, instead of using my crappy little USB camera, which doesn't like rechargeable batteries, I am actually going to be using the camcorder on my Droid, and we'll see how this turns out. I'm actually not going to be using this microphone here, so it's just a prop. It's meaningless. So this is the first in hopefully what's going to be a series of monthly updates from my off-grid location here in Tickville, Wisconsin. And I wanted to do this as a weekly thing, but once I realized what it takes to live off-grid, I realized I'm never going to have enough time for that. So I think monthly will suffice, because life is a lot slower out here. It's just when you live off-grid, your day can be taken up quite substantially by the various things that you just need to do to survive. And I don't mean that in any dramatic sense, because nothing dramatic has really happened here. It's basically chop wood and carry water, and that's kind of what my mornings have been like, chopping wood and carrying water. But I guess, how do I feel about having come here in my first month, having been here a month? And it's horrible, man. It's awful. There's flies and spiders and bats and snakes and things that crawl and I think one of Wisconsin's infamous flying vampire eels laid eggs in my sternum, and they're hatching and taking over my mind. Actually, it's great. I have never been happier. There are times when I don't recall ever being so physically uncomfortable, but I'm actually, at times, blissfully happy here. It's kind of amazing, the difference. I mean, after having come out of Chicago with this incredibly high population density, and now here, I'm not specifically in the middle of nowhere. I'm kind of nowhere-esque. I'm not too far from a highway, and not too far from a few different arterial highways. So it's not like, I'm living in the middle of Alaska like that kid who went there with $10 and a bag of rice or whatever. So, I mean, I'm close enough to civilization that I partake in it quite frequently. But I guess, going back to the first day, it was, when I moved here on July 1st, it was 97 degrees. And prior to moving here, I had to remove this big, beautiful old maple tree that was very thoroughly rotted through and was kind of hanging like this over the top of the yurt, weighing substantially more on top, so it was just waiting for a good windstorm or something of the like to come and just knock it down on top of the yurt and me. But I might do a video on that whole tree felling thing. It was kind of comical. It was one of those things where you just don't know how things are going to end up. But I moved here in a yurt without ventilation, without opening the dome or the windows or anything. Being in a yurt in 97-degree temperatures is sort of like being in a Dutch oven. It was extremely uncomfortable, and I did have that, kind of, oh my God, what am I doing feeling. And then there was the subsequent heat wave that lasted for, I don't know, here in Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, it lasted maybe all of about 4 or 5 days. And that's why I've got this hideous thing surrounding me, this greenhouse that I bought for like $40, that is keeping out all the very friendly bugs. And it's not so bad now, but in July, I guess I also, besides record heat, I came into record buffalo gnat season. I don't think, I've never experienced anything quite like that. That was kind of amazing. And they were a force. They were just a tidal force. Any bare inch of skin, they just kind of went for. And, you know, the usual things that I would use to ward away ticks and mosquitoes, they just laughed at it. They just mocked it. So that was interesting, but they went away after about 2 or 3 weeks, and nary a buffalo gnat to be seen, thank God. So essentially, you know, I've settled in already after just a month here. And, yeah, you know, not missing the city. It's interesting. I mean, and I think it's probably, it probably has to do with it being a rural setting, but also because of the specific area. It's a very strange thing after being in Chicago and being in Minneapolis and Providence, Rhode Island, and Detroit. Niceness. There's all kinds of this strange niceness here. People, like, talk to you. They actually take a genuine interest, and not just feigned interest so they can cold cock you and take your wallet, but, like, actual interest. You can have conversations here, and people won't, you know, look at you like you want something from them. So that's been extremely refreshing. But I've kind of got a routine down here now, which, as I said, chop wood, carry water. I get most of my water thus far, and I'll be doing a video on my water processing techniques. But I get most of it from a stream, and actually a little bit from a little makeshift rain barrel-esque thing that I put together that kind of sucks. Really need to refine that. And I also get it, my refrigeration is basically a cooler. So every few days I get a 10-pound bag of ice, and when that melts, I also filter that, and that becomes drinking water. So that's, I really, it's kind of amazing, the water thing. I use really like the contents of the average toilet basin. I probably use less than is in one flush of a toilet in a day and a half, which was something that kind of struck me when I was in Chicago toward the end of my time there. I was in the bathroom and I flushed the toilet, and I was kind of going, you know what? I bet I use less water in a day. So it's amazing how wasteful we are in so many ways. And one of the things that I've learned to do here is I practically, everything has a multiple purpose. Everything is at least dual usage. Very little gets thrown away. What I do throw away, whereas in Chicago, it was just, a couple, 3 huge garbage bags a week. Here it's maybe a little tiny bag. Most of my waste, paper products and such, I just toss in the wood stove and burn it. Yeah. It's, it's been interesting. Psychologically, it's been just amazing amounts of stress and anxiety and, frankly, out-and-out depression gone. Replaced with moments of actual joy just from hearing the song of a bird or my little cicada friends out there. Or the hummingbirds flocking around my little hummingbird feeder I put up. Yeah, I haven't experienced much of that in my life, and I come out here and joy. Who'd have thought? Anyone who knows me, who's known me for any amount of time, would go, what? He's finally smoking crack. I'm not. Yeah, so just being out in the natural world without all these people's issues and anxieties and anger and frustration surrounding me, I guess, I was more psychologically and psychically open than I had heretofore thought. So that's been wonderful. Physically, it's August 5th, I think. You lose track of time when you're out in the woods. So it's August 5th, and I weigh 150 pounds. And I think it was May 1st that I weighed 185. And I've lost, I think, about 10 of those pounds in the past month. And most of it has just been a moderate diet. I've been doing a lot of foraging. My area here is a forager's paradise. I have everything growing here. Mint, thistle, sorrel, burdock, wood nettles, stinging nettles, just pretty much every day. My farmer's market, although I shop at those, my farmer's market here is right outside my door. Chickweed. I was ecstatic to discover I have chickweed growing everywhere. Various kinds of mushrooms, too, although staying away from those for now. So what else? That's kind of it. The physical, chopping wood 2 hours a day. Incredible exercise. I don't know that you could do such a thing in the middle of, Milwaukee or something, but I highly recommend it. It's really doing wonders for me. I guess, if there's downsides, it's, I have a solar panel. It's a 15-watt solar panel. I use it to charge my gel batteries. Sometimes my marine battery, although when I take a trip into one of the various towns, I'll usually chuck the marine battery into my van and charge it that way. And that seems to really work. And the marine battery, lasts me normal usage about 4 or 5 days. Actually, what's kind of funny was from one of the local libraries, I got out the Battlestar Galactica Season 3, and I watched it running off my netbook off of a power inverter powered by a marine battery in a yurt in the woods. So that to me is just kind of astounding. What else? I had notes. Heat, flies, things coming into the yurt. I found out this morning that I have these little scrabbling sounds that I've been hearing around the area where the top cover meets the side cover of the yurt. And I thought all this time this was mice trying to get in, because I had a mouse that at one point got in by chewing through the nylon rope right in that area. Come to find out, no, it's bats. I love bats, so this is not a problem for me. There's no way they can get inside the yurt, so their guano and their bodies are not going to come in there, hopefully. Hate to have to chase them out. So I have bats, and a yurt. The other thing about a yurt, upside and downside, you can hear everything. I love it, quite frankly, but quite often I have to sleep with some sound masking in a pair of earbuds because things, bumble around right around the yurt. I have deer that hang out here almost every night, just bumping into things. They look graceful, don't they? I'd ask any car that's been hit by a deer, I guess, or deer that's been hit by a car. I don't know. I'm rambling. It's the woods. Woods does it to you. What else? Things I've learned. Water. It putrefies very quickly. I have found that unless I keep water refrigerated, even the stuff that I've treated in various ways, it gets kind of sour. So that I've learned. Hay. I had some hay here. When it rots, it's like Satan's lower GI tract. It smells so bad, and I have a mold allergy, so yeah, not a good thing. I've relocated. Yeah, nature. It never sleeps. Nature never stops. And when you come out to be close to nature, nature will quite unconsciously choose to be close to you. You know, it will find every advantage it can to get next to you, to get intimate with you. So, you know, trying to reinforce that line of demarcation between nature and you can be very difficult. You know, eternal vigilance is the price of that freedom, I suppose. But yeah, it never sleeps. It never stops. And what's interesting, what's really fascinating about it, is that there's some things that follow a recognizable pattern. Some things like the owls, lots of barred owls, and coyotes. I can pretty much depend on at least one rousing chorus from both of them at some point. Sometimes it's just once. Sometimes it's like 8 times. And there's no predicting when it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Some nights there are frogs, some nights there aren't. Some nights there are things with little paws on the side of the yurt scrabbling to get in. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes I don't hear a damn thing out here. And sometimes it's like some sort of, I don't know, woodland rave, I think is how I just put it on a post on Facebook. It's like, you know, everything's out there and it's all being extremely noisy. I think probably my favorite sound is the call of the eastern wood pewee. Beautiful call. Heartrending. Just so sweet. You don't hear that in Chicago. So, yeah, it's been just absolutely wonderful. And I have met, that's the other thing that's interesting, the human element here, which I hadn't really focused on before I came here. But this community that I'm in is so alive with local arts and thought and activism that has really reinvigorated me, and musically, running into people that I think I'm actually might be working with. In Chicago, I met probably about 4 or 5 people that were from there, that I hadn't known previously, that I bonded with. Here in 1 month, it's been like 2 or 3 dozen. It's kind of amazing. So, you know, cool. So I'm pretty happy with that. So, yeah, you know, for July and beginning of August, it's been fantastic. Really haven't been any problems. Now, you know, it's only entering into August. I might be whistling a different tune in February, but, you know, we're going to cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's the other thing about living off-grid, living closer to the earth, is being, you know, I have bailout plans and plan Bs and everything, but just knowing that you're in this little tiny thing and, you know, you can live through the 100-degree temperatures, but 30 below may be a different story entirely. So there's that. So even now, you know, in the thick of summer, I've been chopping away at wood, and I'll probably have to buy a cord or two and a more efficient wood stove. I'll probably get into my wood stove capers in another video. But, yeah, so that's it. I've rambled, but I'm kind of a rambling guy. And yeah, there will be more videos, and I'll talk to you soon. So, thanks. Thanks for indulging me. Thanks for being who you are.